I was the last to know that Ivy had become a mother. The moment I returned to the country, I overheard her telling Liam, "Don't let Ethan know I had the baby. How else am I supposed to use his money to raise our child?" 3 years ago, I was sent abroad for a work assignment. At the time, she had said, "Ethan, when you come back in 3 years, we'll get married." Now, it seemed, I was nothing but a joke. I turned and walked out, dialing the number for headquarters. "Give me the new overseas project." From now on, I would live as if I had never loved Ivy. As I walked away, the shock of what I had just heard was still fresh. My girlfriend of many years and my best friend had a child together behind my back. The irony was crushing. I pulled the custom-made diamond ring from my pocket. I had planned to propose with it. I had sourced the raw diamond myself from a local mine, then had a renowned jeweler craft it to Ivy's exact size. A stone of this carat weight was nearly impossible to find back home. The diamond glittered brilliantly in the sun, each facet a tiny, sharp blade slicing into my heart. I had returned as promised, but she had long since forgotten her vow. Dazed, I stumbled out onto the street. "Ethan, you're back?" I looked up to see Chloe, Ivy's best friend. "Yeah," I managed a flat reply. "Does Ivy know?" A bitter smile touched my lips. "I just got back. I haven't had a chance to tell her yet." Chloe gave me a strange look, then hurried off after a few brief words. I pulled up my chat history with Ivy. Our last conversation was a week ago. I had sent a message telling her I was coming home. She never replied. Now I knew why. She was probably busy giving birth. I couldn't pinpoint when it started, but at some point, Ivy had stopped calling or texting me first. When I would finish work and try to video call her, she would always decline. She was either tired or it wasn't a good time. I made a point of calling during her free hours, despite the time difference. But I was always met with a cool reception. I thought she was upset that I wasn't there with her. So I sent her my entire salary and bought her all sorts of gifts. I counted down the days until I could return to her, and the moment the assignment was over, I booked the earliest flight back. This was the welcome I received. It felt like my insides were being torn apart. I clutched my chest, taking deep breaths until I could regain some semblance of calm. My phone rang. It was Ivy. My hand trembled as I answered. "Ethan, you're back? Where are you?" I was about to say I was at a hotel, but I changed my mind. I wanted to see how she would play this. "I'll be home soon. You're there, right?" Ivy's voice rose in panic. "Don't come back yet. The house is a mess. I haven't had a chance to clean. Why don't you give me your address, and I'll come pick you up?" So, she was still trying to hide her affair with Liam. I sent her my location. A short while later, she arrived. Her makeup was flawless. You would never have guessed she had just given birth. I hadn't seen her in 3 years, and my longing for her had only grown. Every instinct was screaming at me to pull her into a tight embrace, but my rational mind held me back. "Ethan, long time no see." Ivy's tone was polite and distant, as if we were mere acquaintances, not lovers. I just smiled, saying nothing. Sensing my coldness, Ivy moved closer. "You must be tired from the long flight. Come on, I'll take you for something to eat." I followed her to a Sichuan restaurant. Ivy confidently ordered from the menu, chatting and laughing with the waiter. She was clearly a regular. She didn't ask for my opinion, just ordered a table full of dishes. Spicy diced chicken, stir-fried pork with chili peppers, boiled pork slices in a fiery sauce, fish with pickled greens. Almost everything was intensely spicy. I stared at the sea of red on the table, unable to pick up my chopsticks. "Go on, eat," Ivy urged. "Isn't Sichuan your favorite? I ordered all of this especially for you." But I had a stomach condition. I couldn't handle even the slightest bit of spice. In just 3 years, she had completely forgotten. Then it hit me. Liam was from Sichuan. He loved spicy food. A sharp, stinging pain spread through my chest. I truly meant nothing to her anymore. I picked up a piece of chicken and forced myself to eat it. A searing pain shot through my stomach. A fine sheen of sweat broke out on my forehead. Ivy, however, was eating with gusto. "I haven't had anything this good in so long. I've been craving it." "If you wanted to eat it, you could have had it any time," I said, my voice carefully neutral. "Why hold back?" "It's because I was preg." She quickly clapped a hand over her mouth, cutting herself off. "Because of what?" "Nothing. I just wasn't feeling well for a while. The doctor told me to avoid spicy food." From her flustered expression, I knew she had no intention of telling me about her and Liam. Halfway through the meal, Ivy's phone rang. She glanced at me before answering. The sound of a baby crying came through the phone. She quickly lowered the volume, her voice tense. "I'll be back soon. Just try to soothe him for now." After hanging up, she wiped her mouth and grabbed her bag. Ethan, you go on and eat. I have something to take care of, so I have to leave. I stood up as well. Let's go back together. I haven't been home in 3 years. I miss it. A flicker of panic crossed Ivy's eyes. She wanted to stop me, but she couldn't come up with a plausible excuse. I took her arm and led her out of the restaurant, hailing a cab from the street. In the car, Ivy sat pressed against the door, putting as much distance between us as possible. She was typing furiously on her phone, her expression anxious. I stared straight ahead, pretending not to notice. The rest of the ride was silent. When we arrived at the apartment, I used my key to open the door. Ivy rushed in ahead of me. The place was a disaster, with clothes piled everywhere. But there was no sign of Liam or a baby. He had clearly moved the child out. Only then did Ivy seem to relax. See? I told you the place was a mess. I haven't had a chance to tidy up. I noticed a baby's onesie in the corner. Ivy quickly kicked it under the sofa. It's fine, I said calmly. I'm leaving in a few days anyway. Ivy feigned surprise. So soon. But the relief in her voice was palpable. I sat down without being invited. Ivy looked uncomfortable. Ethan, you should get some rest. I have something else to do, so I have to go out for a bit. I looked at her, my gaze steady. Is there anything you want to tell me? She paused, then forced a smile. No. A small part of me was still holding out hope that she would be honest with me. Where are you going so late? She clutched her chest, where a milk stain was visible through her shirt, her expression flustered. A friend of mine just went through a breakup. She asked me to keep her company. Don't overthink it. Even now, she wouldn't tell me the truth. It felt like a punch to the gut. After Ivy left, I looked around the apartment I had bought before I went abroad. It was a gift for her. Now, it had become a love nest for her and Liam. I was the intruder. I walked through the rooms. There was no trace of our life together. The coffee table that used to be in the living room was now shoved in a corner, covered in dust. I had spent weeks searching for that table, trying to find one that matched a picture Ivy had shown me. The plants I had kept on the balcony were long dead, their withered branches and grimy pots a testament to years of neglect. The bedding in the bedroom was new, a pattern I had never seen before. The red duvet was embroidered with mandarin ducks, like something for a newly married couple. Everything in the apartment came in pairs. It was clear that I had been completely erased from her life. The things I had left behind were piled in a corner, thick with dust. I stood there, the pain in my heart a sharp, twisting knife. I couldn't stay in this place a minute longer. I turned and fled, as if escaping a fire. On the street, memories of my time with Ivy played in my mind like a movie. We had met when we had nothing. We were both from poor backgrounds. Our biggest dream was to one day live a comfortable life. Ivy would often curl up in my arms, describing the life she wanted. A big house, a car, and endless amounts of good food. I would pinch her nose and call her a little glutton. So when the company offered me the overseas assignment, Ivy was my biggest supporter. When you come back with enough money, we can get married and have a baby, she had said, her eyes shining with love for me. Before I left, I couldn't bear to leave her alone. So I asked my most trusted friend, Liam, to look after her. I thought I was going out to conquer the world, leaving a stable home base behind me. But I came back to find my home had been stolen. A text message came through on my phone. It was my flight confirmation from the company. Good. There was no reason to stay here anymore. Once I finished what I had to do, I could leave without any regrets. The next day, I went to the cemetery. My parents were buried here. They had both passed away when I was young. I was sent to an orphanage, which is where I met Ivy. I thought we would spend our whole lives together, but in the end, we had drifted apart. I couldn't even bring myself to confront her. I was afraid to hear her say she didn't love me anymore, and even more afraid to see our relationship end in such a sordid way. I spent the whole day at my parents' graves. Only here could I find a sliver of comfort. A light rain began to fall, mixing with the tears on my cheeks. The suffocating pain in my chest was almost unbearable. Then, Ivy called. Ethan, I'm throwing a welcome home party for you today. You should come. My first instinct was to refuse, but then I thought it would be a good opportunity to say goodbye to everyone. So I agreed. When I arrived at the restaurant, I saw a few familiar faces up ahead. Before I could greet them, I heard their conversation. Do you think Ethan knows about Ivy and Liam's baby? Probably not. Why else would she be throwing him a welcome home party? Ethan is such a fool, working his ass off overseas while his girlfriend is with someone else. Keep your voices down. Ivy is still counting on him to send her money for the baby. Their words were followed by a round of cruel laughter. So everyone knew. I was the only one in the dark, and these were supposed to be my best friends. When I walked into the private room, everyone looked at me with a strange, uncomfortable expression. Finally, someone stood up to greet me. "Ethan, you're back? How have you been overseas?" I forced a weak smile. "Fine." Ivy arrived a few moments later, as vibrant and cheerful as ever. She greeted everyone warmly. Ethan's return was a bit sudden, so this was a little last minute. "No problem," someone replied. "Besides, aren't you throwing a bigger party for the 1 month?" Ivy shot him a look, cutting him off. But I had already heard them talking outside. I knew she and Liam were planning a 1 month celebration for their child. Halfway through the meal, Liam walked in. Ivy shot to her feet, then tried to regain her composure. "Liam, I thought you were busy today. What are you doing here?" Liam ignored her and walked straight to me. "Ethan, welcome back." He extended his hand. I didn't stand. I just nodded and smiled. The room fell silent. No one dared to speak. Liam let out a short, mocking laugh and sat down next to Ivy. His casual, confident movement was a clear declaration. He and Ivy were a couple. He raised his glass, his eyes filled with contempt as he looked at me. A toast to our good friend Ethan's return. Everyone else followed suit, raising their glasses. When I didn't move, Liam's annoyance grew. "Ethan, as your brother, I apologize for stealing your woman. But Ivy and I are truly in love. We have a child together. You should just let her go." The others chimed in. "Ethan, Liam has been taking care of Ivy all these years. We've all seen it. You should just let them be happy." "That's right. They've been in love for a long time. It was only because of you that they couldn't be together openly. They have a child now, Ethan. Be the bigger person." Their hypocrisy was astounding. They made it sound like I was the obstacle in their great love story. A hot rage surged through me. I clenched my fists. "So, all of you knew that Ivy cheated on me with Liam, and not a single one of you told me?" Seeing my anger, Ivy burst into tears. "Ethan, it's all my fault. Don't blame Liam, and don't blame them. I was the one who told them not to say anything. If you want to hit someone, hit me." I looked at the woman I had once loved so deeply, now offering herself up to be punished for another man. The last thread of hope inside me snapped. What would hitting her change? My fists unclenched, my body stiff and drained of all energy. I turned and walked out. I didn't want anything anymore. I just wanted to leave. But Liam, his face a mask of fury, grabbed my arm. "Ethan, what's the meaning of this? If you don't agree to let her go today, it means you don't forgive us. If you're a man, fight me. I won't lose to you." He continued to taunt me. He didn't just want to take Ivy. He wanted to defeat me psychologically as well. I shook his hand off and ignored him. But Liam just laughed louder. "Ethan, you're a coward. You won't even fight for your own woman. You deserve to be cuckolded. So what if I stole her from you? You're just an orphan with no family to back you up." His words were like sharp knives, twisting in my gut. I couldn't control my anger any longer. I grabbed a nearby stool and swung it at him with all my might. Liam cried out in pain and collapsed to the floor. Ivy rushed to his side, her eyes filled with hatred as she looked at me. "Ethan, you're insane. You hit Liam. If anything happens to him, I'll kill you." Her trembling hands came away from his head covered in blood. She screamed, "Someone call an ambulance." "Are you happy now?" "Ethan, I must have been blind to ever be with you." With that, she took off the jade bracelet she was wearing and smashed it on the floor. I lunged for it, but it was too late. The green jade shattered into 100 pieces. It was the last thing my mother gave me before she died. She told me to give it to the woman I loved. The day Ivy and I got together, I put that bracelet on her wrist. I knelt down, my body shaking, and carefully picked up the pieces, putting them in my pocket. As the others helped Liam up, I saw a triumphant gleam in his eyes. I stood, my voice a low, raw growl. "From this day on, Ivy and I are finished." I walked out of the restaurant and into the rain. The steady drizzle was a reflection of the tears I couldn't shed. Back at the hotel, the director of administration from my company called. My new letter of appointment had come through. I was officially the new vice president of the overseas business division. The company had kept its promise. Looking at the official document on my phone, I felt like I was clinging to a lifeline. Everything else was a lie. Only my career and the money I earned were real. I took out the shattered bracelet from my pocket and held it against my heart, trying to feel my mother's presence. Just like when I was a child and she would comfort me, I drifted off to sleep. The next day, I was on a plane, heading back overseas. In the seat next to me, a young woman greeted me with a sweet smile. "Hello, Mr. Shun. I'm your new assistant, Cora." "Hello, Mr. Shun. I'm looking forward to working with you. I've never been abroad before, so I'm a little excited. She was young, probably just a few years out of college, with an innocence that hadn't yet been worn away. I wondered if the company had sent her to assist me, or if it would be the other way around. I shook my head. It's not as fun as you think. We're not going to a developed country. It can be dangerous. Cora's face was full of fearless optimism. That's fine. I'm tired of being at home anyway. I'm not afraid of a little danger. Besides, I'll have you there. I've heard you're very capable. I sighed. It was good to be young, to be excited by everything. Compared to her, I felt ancient. After a 12-hour flight, we finally landed. Cora, who had been so excited on the plane, now looked pale and exhausted. Mr. Shun, I had no idea long-haul flights were so tiring. I feel like I'm going to die. I smiled. I told you, overseas assignments are hard work. Cora pouted. No wonder the pay is double what it is at home. A car from the branch office took us to the project site. Although it was called a branch office, the conditions were primitive. The office itself was a temporary structure made of steel. The living quarters were even worse, with only basic plumbing and electricity. The moment Cora saw the accommodations, she burst into tears. How can anyone live here? I've never stayed in a place like this. There isn't even a private bathroom. I was used to it. On my last assignment, we had started out intense. I tried to comfort her. Don't worry. Let's get something to eat first. After that, I'll figure something out. I cursed the company in my head. They knew how tough the conditions were. Why would they send a delicate young woman like her? It was just creating more work for me. But then I thought about how she was just a young woman trying to earn some extra money, and I softened. I had someone from the local office take us for a good meal. In reality, there wasn't much to choose from. We went to a local Chinese restaurant and filled our stomachs. When we got back, I set up a separate room for Cora. I even fashioned a makeshift shower for her out of a water bottle. Cora, the conditions are a bit rough right now. You'll have to make do for a while. When I have some free time, I'll set you up with something better. Seeing that she had a place to wash up, Cora jumped for joy and threw her arms around me in a spontaneous hug. Thank you, Mr. Shun. You're amazing. Looking at the stars in her eyes, I couldn't help but smile. For a fleeting moment, I was reminded of how Ivy used to praise me. Her phone screen had shattered once, and she had cried, asking me what to do. A new screen was too expensive. So I went to a second-hand market, found a replacement screen, and fixed it for her. She had looked at me with such admiration, calling me a modern-day genius. Mr. Shun, what are you thinking about? Cora's voice brought me back to the present. Nothing, just a little tired. We should get some rest. I slept soundly that night. The next morning, stacks of project documents were waiting for us. Cora and I got to work. In less than half a day, she had organized all the materials by category. Women definitely had their strengths. I gave her an appreciative look. Cora beamed. Mr. Shun, I may be a girl, but I'm a hard worker. Then give this project your all. When we get back home, I'll make sure you get a promotion. Cora was overjoyed. From then on, Cora and I worked closely together. The project, which had been stalled for some time, was quickly back on track. The entire site was buzzing with activity. I was so busy that I had no time to think about the mess I had left behind. But a few days later, Liam posted pictures of his son's 1-month celebration on social media. Thank you, Ivy, for giving me such a beautiful son. In the photo, Liam and Ivy were holding the baby, smiling sweetly at the camera. They looked like a happy family. Cora saw me staring at my phone and leaned over. Who's that? I locked the screen. Just a friend, I said flatly. Cora teased. Is it your ex-girlfriend? Don't be so nosy. Get back to work. She took the hint and walked away. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the construction site, staring up at the starry sky. Cora came over with a few bottles of beer. Mr. Shun, care for a drink? I was surprised. Drinking is strictly forbidden on the project site. Where did you get this? Cora gave me a mysterious look. A girl has her ways. Besides, if you don't tell, and I don't tell, who's going to know? I took a bottle and took a long swig. The bitter taste made my eyes water. Slow down, Cora said with a laugh. No one's going to steal it from you. I got drunk that night. It was like a dam had burst. All the pain and frustration I had been bottling up came pouring out. I had no one else to talk to. Cora was the only one who would sit with me, drink with me, and listen. By the end of it, Cora was crying. How can people be so shameless? They treated you so badly. Mr. Shun, are you just going to let it go? I gave a sad laugh. What else can I do? You can't force someone to love you. All I can do is let go. Don't worry, Mr. Shun. Cora said comfortingly. Someone as wonderful as you will definitely find happiness. Your ex-girlfriend just has bad taste. Let's not talk about it anymore. It's good to be overseas. I don't have to think about all that. After that night, Cora and I grew closer. Having a woman on the project site made life more interesting. Cora always found ways to make our dull lives more fun. She started a garden, planting flowers and vegetables. The empty space in front of the office building was transformed. On one side, colorful flowers swayed in the breeze. On the other, lush green vegetables grew. Cora called it a world of flowers in one hand and a world of daily life in the other. I was amazed that she had managed to make something beautiful grow in this barren land. For a moment, it felt like home. A lump formed in my throat. I picked a small flower and gave it to her. This flower is a bit like you. It looks delicate, but it's very resilient. Cora smiled as she took it, then feigned anger. I worked so hard to grow this, and you just picked it. Life overseas was quiet and peaceful, like a world away from everything else. Until a call from headquarters came, asking me to return and take charge of the domestic business. Cora and I handed off our work, packed our bags, and flew back. The company chairman threw a lavish welcome home banquet for me. I was flattered. Ethan, thanks to you, our overseas business has been booming these past few years. It's all thanks to the company's support, I replied humbly. The chairman's expression softened. He looked me up and down. Have you been so busy with work that you haven't had time to find a girlfriend? How about I introduce you to someone? I quickly declined. Thank you for your concern, Chairman, but I'm not really thinking about that right now. I had always thought of the chairman as a serious, no-nonsense person. His sudden concern for my personal life was a bit unnerving. After the banquet, I went for a walk. The scenery was familiar, but my state of mind was completely different. The last time I was here, I was reeling from the pain of betrayal. This time, I was much calmer. The wound that I thought would never heal was slowly closing. I took a picture of the moon and posted it online. 5 minutes later, Ivy called. Seeing the familiar number, a wave of mixed emotions washed over me. I declined the call. The past should stay in the past. She called again and again. Finally, I answered. Ethan, you're back in the country, right? I must have forgotten to block her from seeing my posts. Yes, I said. Ethan, can you help me? Her voice was urgent. What is it? I asked, against my better judgment. There was a long pause before she spoke. Ethan, Leo is sick. I need money. Can you lend me some? Leo was her son with Liam. A surge of anger went through me. Where's Liam? Liam. He said the baby can't be saved. He wants a divorce. She really did see me as a fool. Ivy, I sent you every penny I earned in the 3 years I was abroad. You cheated on me with Liam and had his child, and now that the child is sick, you're asking me for money? Do you think I owe you something from a past life? I didn't want to hear her excuses. I hung up the phone and blocked her number. As was standard procedure, anyone returning from an overseas assignment had to get a full physical exam. Cora and I went to the hospital together. As we were waiting for our results, we heard a commotion in the lobby. A woman and a child were crying. We went over to see what was happening. It was Ivy, sitting on the floor, holding her child, weeping hysterically. She was begging a doctor to save her baby. The doctor looked helpless. It's not that we don't want to save your child, but you have a large outstanding bill. We can't let you stay in the hospital any longer. You need to find a way to pay. Hearing this, Ivy's face turned ashen. She looked like she was about to faint. The baby in her arms was wailing. It was a heartbreaking scene. I started to pull Cora away, but she shook off my hand. Ethan, that woman looks so pitiful. I want to help her. Cora went over and tried to help Ivy up. The moment Ivy saw me standing behind Cora, she rushed towards me. Ethan, is that you? Ethan, please, save me and my child. Leo is dying. She clung to me like I was her last hope. Cora understood immediately. She shot me a look that said, So this is your ex-girlfriend? I nodded. Cora's compassionate expression hardened. She stepped in front of me, shielding me from Ivy. When you abandoned Ethan, did you ever think you would end up like this? If your child is sick, go find his father. What does it have to do with Ethan? Ivy pushed Cora aside. Who do you think you are? What right do you have to interfere in my business with Ethan? I'm the woman he loves most. I steadied Cora and scoffed. Ivy, we broke up a long time ago. Don't flatter yourself. Your child is suffering. You should go find Liam. Ivy's face went white. She fell to her knees, begging. Ethan, I know I was wrong, but Liam ran away. I can't find him. I sold the apartment, but it's still not enough to cover the hospital bills. Please, have pity on me. She had brought this on herself. Ignoring her pleas, I pulled Cora away. Let's go to a different hospital. Cora looked at me, confused. Are you really not going to do anything? That child is so pitiful. I paused. The child is innocent. I'll have someone take care of it. But I don't want to have anything to do with Ivy. I contacted the director of the orphanage where I grew up. I sent him a sum of money and asked him to give it to Ivy in the orphanage's name. After all, during my time at the orphanage, Ivy had been a beacon of light in my dark world. After I had taken care of everything, Cora praised me endlessly. Ethan, I knew I was right about you. You're a true gentleman. I just smiled. I just didn't want to live with any regrets. On Cora's birthday, she mysteriously invited me to her house for a party. I was going to decline, thinking I wouldn't fit in with a younger crowd. But she just handed me an invitation and ran off. That evening, I arrived at the address she had given me with a gift in hand. I was stunned to find myself at the entrance to a gated community of luxury villas. Even with her recent promotion and raise, there was no way Cora could afford a place like this. Puzzled, I went inside. A butler was waiting for me at the door of a magnificent villa and led me inside. There, I saw Cora, dressed in a haute couture gown, her makeup professionally done. She looked like a goddess. This was not the young woman who had been planting vegetables on the construction site. This was a bona fide heiress. Seeing my shocked expression, Cora came over to me. Ethan, you're not mad at me, are you? She whispered. Before I could ask what she meant, I saw the company chairman walk into the living room. He greeted me warmly. Ethan, today is Cora's birthday. She specifically invited you. Cora looked at me shyly. It finally clicked. Cora was the chairman's daughter. I had completely forgotten that they both had the same last name. The party began. Cora stood in front of a giant cake and made a wish. Then, she looked at me and, gathering her courage, announced to the crowd, Do you want to know my birthday wish? The guests cheered. Of course. Cora walked towards me, holding a piece of cake. She looked at me with deep affection. My birthday wish is to spend the rest of my life with the person I love. The crowd started chanting, Get together, get together, get together. Hearing her words, my mind went blank. I was completely stunned. I never thought Cora actually liked me, and I certainly never expected her to confess in front of so many people. I wrapped my arms around her and held her tight. A confession is something a man should do. Now it's my turn. Cora, will you be my girlfriend? Cora covered her mouth, her body trembling with emotion, her eyes filled with tears. In the time I had spent with Cora, I had been completely captivated by her energy and optimism. My feelings for her had been growing, but I was afraid she would think I was too old for her. I never dared to tell her how I felt, but she was much braver than I was. My relationship with Cora was a whirlwind romance. We quickly set a wedding date. On our wedding night, I gave Cora the jade bracelet, which I had had repaired. She took it carefully, her eyes filled with love. Even though this bracelet was once broken, since you've given it to me, I will protect it with all my heart. It's more precious to me than all my other jewelry. I held her in my arms, feeling like I had the whole world. Later, I heard from the orphanage director about what happened to Ivy. Her son had passed away. He had an incurable disease that no amount of money could have fixed. After the child's death, Ivy's mental state deteriorated. One moment, she would be crying about getting revenge on Liam. The next, she would be laughing about how much Ethan loved her. She went to the orphanage and begged the director to take her in. The director took pity on her and let her work as a caregiver for the younger children. But one day, she snuck a child out of the orphanage. The staff immediately called the police. When they found her, she was huddled under a bridge, clutching the child and repeating, Leo, Leo. The child was rescued, but Ivy had completely lost her mind. No one knows what happened to her after that. Some say she died. Others say she was trafficked. But I never saw her again.